Alright guys, what is going on? Match reaction. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 2, and Manchester City get a big win in Spain. And to be honest, I actually thought when Man City took the lead, they were very comfortable. Listen, tonight for Real Madrid, there was no Kylian Mbappe. Are Real Madrid too reliant on Kylian Mbappe? I don't know. They missed him tonight. They've lost tonight. I don't understand putting him on the bench. What was the point in putting Mbappe on the bench if he wasn't going to come on? I've always said if you're fit enough for the bench, you're fit enough to start. I cannot believe he didn't even come on. Absolutely baffling. Why would you even have him on the bench if you're not even going to bring him on? Very strange decision that by Xabi Alonso. Very strange indeed. And, it was a shame when we heard the news that Mbappe might not play because, you want the best players in the world to play in these big matches. And, not for him not even to come on was a bit disappointing, to be honest. A little bit disappointing. And, Man City, well, I think when Pep saw Mbappe not in the starting 11, he was probably rubbing his hands like, yes, here we go. But no, touching back on Man City, it's a good win for Man City. They are looking dangerous this season, Manchester City. They really, really are. They're 2 points behind the league leaders, Arsenal, in the Premier League. And, they're doing very well also in the Champions League as well. And, thank God Pep didn't rest basically his whole team because against Leverkusen in the last Champions League game, he rested like everybody and they got beat at the Etihad, if you remember. So it was a full strength Man City team today, and they've got the job done. It was a good game. It was a good game. I think the first half was definitely better than the second half. Obviously all 3 goals came in that first half. But in the second half, Man City were just in control. They were just in control, really. I thought, like I said at the start, I think they were comfortable in that second half, Man City. Real Madrid tried, but no cigar. The thing is with Real Madrid is that obviously there are threats. Of course, they're a threat. They've got Rodrigo, Vinicius, Bellingham. They're a threat. But you do feel like when Mbappe's not there, the opposition's chance of winning massively heightens, if you know what I mean. Real Madrid were missing a lot of players today, no doubt. They've got a bit of an injury crisis at the minute, No Højsund, no Militao, no Trent, no Camavinga, no Mbappe. That's 5 big, big players that I just mentioned for Real Madrid that couldn't take part tonight. And, that was a blow for Xabi Alonso. Because, you want, like I just said, you want your best players to play in these big games, and he was missing 5, basically, starters for Real Madrid tonight. But yeah, I just don't think they did enough in attacking that second half for Real Madrid. I just don't think they did enough at all. And yeah, I just think Man City were very comfortable in that second half. But for Real Madrid, I do want to touch on Xabi Alonso. I think Xabi Alonso's in trouble. I don't think Real Madrid are going to sack Xabi Alonso, but I definitely think there's like ongoing talks about his job. There has to be. I think Real Madrid have only won 1 game out of their previous 5. I think could be wrong about that. If you look at La Liga, Barcelona are now the new leaders at the top of La Liga, and they've come up against 2 Premier League clubs in the Champions League this season, Real Madrid, and they've lost to both of them, Liverpool and Manchester City, and that just shows you that the Premier League has the best teams in the world because people put Real Madrid up there as one of the best teams in the world. Liverpool, who are absolutely awful awful this season, beat them at Anfield. Real Madrid were terrible at Anfield. Absolutely abysmal, Real Madrid were. And Liverpool comfortably beat them. Tonight, you're at home. You've just lost to Celta Vigo in La Liga prior to this game. And you lose again. It's back-to-back defeats at the Bernabeu for Real Madrid. That's very rare. I mean, it probably has happened recently, but that's not a good sign for a manager, And Xabi Alonso, I don't think he'll get sacked, but I think he's starting to become a little bit in trouble. And, he has to start getting results. He has to. Because the Real Madrid are a club that are not afraid to change. They do not care, Real Madrid. They do it. Everything about Real Madrid is football business. They don't mess about. So, Xabi Alonso's got to start getting results quickly. But yeah, Man City, what a win at the Bernabeu, Man City have actually got a decent record at the Bernabeu. They've got a decent record and, I mean, I don't think they've won many games at the Bernabeu, but, they certainly don't lose many games either. But yeah, they're looking dangerous, Man City. It's another win where it just builds confidence within the squad. And yeah, they are looking very dangerous for the Premier League. I don't think Man City will win either the Premier League or the Champions League. I think Arsenal will win the Premier League. Champions League, I mean, I predicted Barcelona, but I don't know who's going to win the Champions League, if I'm being honest. But yeah, City are just going about the business, quietly, which is dangerous. But let's talk about the goals. Real Madrid take the lead in the 28th minute. Rodrigo with a really, really good finish. From back to front, Real Madrid come. Carreras just bodies Bernardo Silva off the ball. Gets it inside to Garcia, who was starting ahead of Mbappe. Garcia, he knocks it onto Bellingham. Then Bellingham gives it to Rodrigo out on the right wing. And initially I thought Rodrigo was going to cross because the angle was too tight. How wrong was I? Rodrigo takes the shot across Donnarumma. And it's a really, really good finish by Rodrigo. Side netting, no chance for Donnarumma. I don't think Donnarumma expects the shot, to be honest. I think Donnarumma expects the cross. But yeah, it's a really good finish by Rodrigo and Real Madrid take a 1-0 lead. But then City, pretty much an instant response. 7 minutes later, they get a corner. Manchester City crossed it, I think, by Phil Foden onto the head of Josko Gvardiol. Just climbs over Bellingham too easily. And I mean, I don't know what Courtois is doing here. I mean, how Courtois has not gathered this ball in, I don't understand. Spills it right into the path of Nico O'Reilly, who's just got basically an empty net, sticks it in. One of the easiest goals O'Reilly will ever score. But what a moment for the 20-year-old. What a moment. Scoring the Bernabeu, 20 years old. What a moment for him. It must be. And it's 1-1. And then 8 minutes after Man City make it 1-1, they make it 2-1. Erling Haaland from the penalty spot in the 43rd minute. Now, for me, this isn't a penalty. This is not a penalty. And I think this is the problem I have with referees. This is such a soft foul. In my opinion, Haaland's already going down. Right, Rudiger's grabbed him. I understand that. He's got his arms around him. There's probably a bit of pulling going on. I get that. But it's just not a penalty. It's so soft. And I feel so bad for Rudiger, honestly. Haaland, referee doesn't even give it initially. Goes to the monitor, gets told to go to the monitor, and then he gives it. I mean, the referee literally took a second to look at it, and he gave it. Haaland steps up, sends Courtois the wrong way, and Man City take a 2-1 lead. But then towards the end of the first half, I think Real Madrid should have had a penalty because Asensio was dragged, his shirt pulled to the floor by Gvardiol. That wasn't given a penalty. It's just the inconsistency that really annoys me. Like, yeah, it's so annoying. But that wasn't given a penalty. And then, like we said in the second half, Real Madrid pushed, but I always felt like Man City were in control really of that game in the second half, and they managed to see it out till full time, and they got a 2-1, 2-1 win. It's a big win, big victory for Man City. That another defeat for Real Madrid, back-to-back defeats for Real Madrid, both at the Bernabeu. Worrying signs, worrying signs. But guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts on the match. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll catch you later.